Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and in this point in RWBY, we've seen our fair share of beastly Grimm poking their blood red eyes out of the darkness. Beowulfs, dragons, griffins, and even a Nuka-Larvae, these are just some of the nasties that we've come across already. But the world of Remnant is massive, and surely we've only just scratched the surface when it comes to possible new Grimm causing chaos. So I decided to make a list of the 10 Grimm that I would love to see in the future. It could be a creature from fairy tales, mythology, or our own animal kingdom. So long as I think that they'd be a fun concept, that's all I need to consider them. And if you got some ideas of the Grimm that you want to see, be sure to leave your suggestions in the comments down below. But enough delay, let's count down my top 10 most wanted Grimm. Number 10. Skeleton Grimm. It's up in the air right now if whether or not Salem is technically a human Grimm, but the idea of a human-based Grimm in some shape or fashion is still a frightening visual to speculate on, especially if it's nothing but bones. Spooky, scary skeletons have been common monsters in all kinds of media, despite being a tad weak if you are able to knock their fragile structure apart. But with a touch of grimness to their parts, these rickety bones could use their dark powers to aid in regaining their shape, or even reconstruct their pieces into deadly weapons, making them a near impossible and very dangerous foe to defeat. It's already hard enough to keep a Grimm down normally, so imagine if this nightmare kept coming back just to make you as dead as they are. Also, there's just something strange and sickening about the idea of fighting a skeleton, the remains of a human life, someone's loved one who's now twisted by evil to cause more harm and end more lives. Number 9. RAIJU Grimm. I'm a big fan of Japanese mythology. So many unique creatures and legends under its banner that it's hard not to think of some of them as being prime material for Remnant's terrors. For example, RAIJU, the companion of the Shinto god of lightning, Raijin. Admittedly, the main reason why I want this shocker as a Grimm is to have a different element of focus other than fire or water, which can be a rather common trait when we're talking about an elemental beast. But the benefit isn't just RAIJU being a lightning-powered whiz. Its whole body is made of lightning, capable of being in either the shape of a dog, a cat, a wolf, a fox, and even a weasel, which that last form would actually be the form that I go for, as it's something different. Just imagine, you've got this electrifyingly slippery weasel that's too lightning quick to hit and packing too much voltage to pin down without getting sparked or clawed. I reckon that could lead to some very fast-paced and difficult, exciting clashes, especially if it goes toe-to-toe with someone like Nora. Just, leave the whole thing about this ball of lightning apparently sleeping in people's belly buttons. Thank you very much. Number 8. KRAKEN Grimm. We're knee-deep now in exploring locations in Remnant other than Vale, which, of course, means new and varied environments, and with it, unique Grimm that rule over their respective terrain. And when it comes to Grimm dominating the briny blue ocean, the fandom has grouped for one particular monster to rise from the waves. Time to release the Kraken! While the sea dragon serves as one sea-based danger and a big one at that, it almost feels like a misstep to ignore a creature that has appeared in multiple works of fiction and mythologies as a true aquatic fiend. This nasty is one hell of a hulking squid-like being with an insane amount of arms that are capable of dragging down any kind of ship into the depths. Not only that, but you got the suckers that can pin down its prey, its many teeth, and the classic ink squirt that could have some blinding, trapping, and poisoning capabilities. There's even potential to build on folktales with its body leaning more towards some whale traits to make it so big that it's often confused as a massive island when it's asleep. I'm sure the idea of a mysterious island wouldn't be too strange in the world of Remnant, and making it out to be a fabled monster of the deep blue sea would make for a thrilling battle once it's awake and hunting. Number 7. Grimm. The world of Remnant already has a pretty decent list of flying Grimm, but I think we are due another one, and a big one at that. I don't want it to just be a new common type Grimm that appear in hordes or serve as enemy fodder. Rather, I want a new, strong solo Grimm that ranks high on the food chain, namely a giant Bat Grimm. My mindset for this Midnight Menace is simply I want something to serve as an airborne test that is greater than a Nevermore or a Griffin, so those involved fighting it can best prepare for the next time they have to deal with something on the same level as the Grim Dragon. And I think making it a classic spooky bat would be a wise and fun move, as it's got more to its attacks than just the sharp claws that it can use as it dives bombs prey, the obvious being the blood-sucking trope that's tied to them. With that trademark move, these foul flyers could perhaps damage our hero's aura from within from just one bite, making them an easier target. Its ear-piercing screams can also disorientate any enemies, and if it looks anything like Lunala from Pokemon, maybe its wings could be razor sharp as well. Again, I just want a Grimm that is not only a major roadblock in present day, but it can also do the deed as experience for the greater foes still waiting in the wings. Pun intended. Number 6. Praying Mantis Grimm. Even though we now have the Lancers as a new bug-based Grimm, there's one more insect that I would love to see with a new coat of Grimm paint that could prove to be more than just a handful for even the most talented of fighters, that of course being a Praying Mantis Grimm. Once you make them actually big enough to be a viable threat, a Grimm version of one of the most badass bugs in the world carries some nifty dangers to watch out for, most notably of course the 2 front arms that has helped these lot take down enemies much larger than themselves already. Those deadly limbs could also get an upgrade with spikes or blades a la the Pokemon Cypher. What I would also add though to make a Mantis Grimm truly special is working in the fighting styles that have been inspired by the bug. First, there's the Northern Praying Mantis style, which is long ranged, mostly using circular blocking, includes high kicks and Mantis hook vital point attacks, while the Southern style is more close ranged and is the style that was also used for the earthbending of Avatar The Last Airbender's Toph, who showed that style's positives to great effect. What that basically adds up to is a martial artist insect Grimm with the added danger of the weaponized arms. Hey, if Kung Fu Panda can make Mantis be badass, why not RWBY? At least make it so it would be a fitting Grimm representation for the insect that is seen in some mythologies as one that leads souls to the underworld. Number 5. Lion Grimm. An animal of massive respect, often tied to heroism and leadership, a royal king of the beasts. Now what if that animal was also a creature of darkness? Come on, you surely can't tell me you wouldn't find the idea of one of the most noble creatures in the animal kingdom being a merciless dark hunter in Salem's control as anything but badass and very intriguing morally. Lions are masters of the hunt with their claws and fangs. Its roar could signal the end of many innocents and perhaps even call in fellow Lion Grimm if it's leading a pride into town. I know I'd freak if I see a single Lion Grimm head my way, but make it a group with their chilling red cat eyes staring me down and perhaps their mane spewing black mist or red fire, and that would scare me stiff. Heck, maybe even make it inspired by the Nemean lion that Hercules faced during his labors, with skin so tough that it couldn't be damaged by arrows, clubs, or swords. For the warped morality of a regal symbol turned bad, the awesome visage it can create by itself or with friends, and the viciousness that it can dish out, that is why the King of the Beasts, in my eyes, would be a worthy contender for a king among the Grimm. Number 4. Spider Grimm. Fun fact, I freaking hate spiders. I got arachnophobia big time. Even just watching the buggers on TV gives me the creeps. However, that doesn't stop me wanting RWBY and the gang trying to cut a Grimmified spider into itsy bitsy pieces. The 8-legged freaks are often a sign of curses or slow death, supported by their venom and their method of slowly stalking its next meal. There's of course its other abilities that makes the Spider Grimm such a tasty prospect, like stunning its victims with a paralyzing bite or pinning it down with its trademark sticky webbing, that could also be used as a ranged attack a la Spider-Man. Either way, that weapon would be very nasty in enclosed spaces like dark caves, where there's few ways to avoid its clutches. Even if it's just one big spider, a Grimm version might be able to birth a swarm of teeny ones for added trouble. And if that wasn't bad enough, I could easily picture the creature stealing a page from its little brother, the Parasite Grimm, by having its webbing being able to drain or tamper someone's aura. It's bad enough being caught in a trap, but having no aura, defense, or energy to fight back makes that awful situation look a lot bleaker. Trust me, if a Spider Grimm appears in RWBY, you will see me freak out in my reactions, but still, I'd happily welcome it all the same. Well, slightly. Number 3. Chimera Grimm. The Grimm that we've seen already covers a lot of varied ground. We've got the bulky Ursas, the dangerous ripping apart Lancers, the long arm grabbing Knuckleavi, and so on. But what's stopping RWBY from having a type of Grimm that is more than just one animal? I'm of course talking about a Chimera. When you think about mythological abominations, this nasty is usually at the top of the list, since you got not just one monster to use, but several. The most common mashup being a lion's head and body, a secondary goat's head on the back, and a snake for a tail. A nasty combination that provides a slew of different attack patterns to watch out for, and some depictions also throw in some fire breath for added danger as well. Chimeras also have the stigma of being a bad omen, signaling disasters like storms and volcanic eruptions, which would no doubt fit very well as a creature of Grimm, causing fear and grief and negativity throughout the world. It's that wide variety of possible threats that really makes this concept a fascinating one to imagine, and that classic design doesn't even have to be the form that it takes. There's also other hybrid beasties out there to take inspiration from, like the Sphinx, the Manticore, the Nue, or the Anzu. Hell, imagine what a mashup of other Grimm beasts would look like. Like say, give me a Grimm Beowulf with some griffin wings and a Deathstalker's tail, and that would definitely make a haunting mixture to say the least. Either way, a Chimera Grimm would be perfect, no matter the combination. Number 2. A Mongolian Deathworm Grimm. Since we all expect to see plenty of sand once the gang ends up in either Menagerie's desert or the sandy reaches of Vacuo, I did some research on notable fantastic beasts that could make the desert sand dunes its home, and found this creepy crawly, the Mongolian Deathworm. This freaky thick-bodied giant worm could be the alpha male of what's already a very harsh environment to survive in, and it has all the makings of being a wrecking machine in the process. Not only is it incredibly huge, but its body is said to be able to kill you with one touch, or at the very least cause extreme pain. Quite the conundrum then on how to best attack it with only the worm taking the damage, not yourself. Especially so when you're also trying to avoid the spewing poisonous gas and also the attacks from below in the sand. The Deathworm is also said to be able to generate an electromagnetic field that could shock our heroes into submission, making them sit in ducks for the killing blow. Or it might cause some technical damage to their scrolls or weaponry. Imagine having no means of contacting anyone or having no way to defend yourself with these massive vicious worms striking you down from the sand for the sneak attack, or the fact that you're out there in the desert with no means of finding any way to get out. You might just be better off just surviving the dangers of the desert's heat, but without any kind of weaponry or defensive means, you're gonna be left to these guys' slaughter. And now, my number 1 most wanted Grimm is a Kitsune Grimm. While many see them as divine godlike beings, which again could work for a very cool broken morality visual, Kitsune are also viewed as sneaky tricksters hidden in the shadows, and that attitude could lend itself very easily towards some tactical mind games when making the most of its very deceptive moveset. This includes shape-shifting, illusions, spiritual possession, dream manipulation, and even fire and lightning based attacks from either its mouth or its trademark 9 tails. Clearly this isn't a one-trick monster, there's definitely plenty to watch out for. And speaking of 9 tails, even though the design could very easily just look like the Pokemon or the tailed beast from Naruto, I think a design that's also based on another Kitsune thing in terms of Renamon from the Digimon world would work out as a better decision for what I have in mind. Something very sleek, streamlined and human-like, so it can maneuver with the same pace and precision as the good guys, combining with its mind game capabilities that it has to create something frighteningly close to a Grimm Huntsman or a fox-tailed ninja, only with Grimm-powered trickery instead of jutsu or semblances. A monster that can fight just as well as any huntsman while still having the beastly edge of a hellish demon. It could even be another Grimm that is smarter than some of the mindless bullet fodder that's out there due to its age and experience, similar to the Goliaths, as Kitsune are also touted as wise creatures. Make it a Grimm that has grown from fighting humans for many years, an enemy that could pinpoint the exact weakness to silently and accurately strike at, or better yet, how about a Grimm that knows ways to generate more negativity in its human foes, to call in other Grimm. Make it a cunning beast that could harm you mentally just as much as it can also attack you physically. To me, this combination of wise intellect, pitch-perfect assassin-level skills, and masterful mobility would make a Kitsune Grimm one of the most terrifying monsters to ever come across in the world of Remnant. A true elite monster that would require a huntsman to be at its very best in terms of their performance, and that's something that I truly want to see from any Grimm. A challenge. And I think a Kitsune Grimm like this would be something truly dangerous. And that's it. You've just heard some possible contenders for Grimmified beasties that I want to see RWBY and the gang tussle with. But what about you lot? Do you agree with some of my ideas, or do you have some of your own? Share away in the comments down below, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe and bell buttons to make sure you know when any new videos are out as they drop, and follow me on Twitter at ThatKaitoDan for more on all things RWBY, future videos from yours truly, and more. Until next time though, have a good day or good night, and peace out.